Welcome back to another installment of Book and Breakfast. I hope you guys have had a lovely week, a lovely month. Hopefully you're waking up and having a beautiful start to a beautiful day. Today we're back to do our thing. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Bree. Book and Breakfast is a nice little meeting point on the channel here. We get together, we cook, we bake, we talk about books, and now we have the inclusion of our book of the month book club pick as well. So today we're getting springy with it. I'm gonna be talking about our book for April, Harlem Rhapsody, as well as baking some delicious lemon blueberry rolls. I got everything for you, from books to food, upcoming releases, as well as what I'm currently reading. So if all of that sounds good to you, then tap in and keep on watching. All right, my loves, we're going to go ahead and get into today's offering. We're making lemon blueberry rolls in the style of cinnamon rolls. So we'll have a nice blueberry filling with fluffy rolls and yummy lemon icing. While we cook that, we're going to talk about our book club pick of the month, which was Harlem Rhapsody by Victoria Christopher Murray. This book is an ode to an often forgotten key player in the Harlem Renaissance, and that is Miss Jessie Redmond Fawcett. This is a historical biographical fiction that is following the stunning career of Miss Fawcett, specifically from the time of 1919 to 1925. In 1919, Jessie plants roots in Harlem following her naming as literary editor of The Crisis. The Crisis magazine was founded in 1910 by Mr. W.E.B. Du Bois, and it was also the official magazine for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Jessie was the first Black woman to hold this type of title at any prominent Negro magazine during the time period, and as she came onto the scene during that time, she continued to shake things up. Although The Crisis was already well known and heavily acclaimed for its work that it was bringing to the Black community, Jessie Redmond Fawcett came in and really turned everything on its head. With her addition of a children's magazine within their collective, as well as going out and finding new Negro novelists and poets to introduce within the magazine. Even though we don't often hear much about Miss Redmond Fawcett, she truly was what bolstered the Harlem Renaissance and made it what it was today. She's not only responsible for bringing so much literary beauty into the world, but also discovering many of the people that we typically herald for being the biggest creators within the Harlem Renaissance. This book, of course, is a fictional tale, right? We know that many of these things did happen, but we also know that there is a little bit of a spin to it as well. And one of those is the imagining of the relationship between Miss Fawcett and W.E.B. Du Bois. At the top of the novel, when we are introduced to Jessie, it's made very much clear that she's not only here for a brand new position, but a brand new position that was given to her by Mr. W.E.B. Du Bois. And it becomes very clear that they do not just have a working relationship, they have a lover's relationship as well. Throughout the book, we see the difficulties that Jessie faces with trying to manage her relationship with W.E.B. He is a very proud man. He is a man that has very pointed and staunch opinions. But W.E.B. is also a very much married man, a married man with a child. And we see Jessie struggling to balance the relationship that she has with W.E.B. in her personal life and the relationship that she has with W.E.B. when it comes to her career. And oftentimes, both of these intersect within the way that he treats her. We know that during this time period, women still do not have many rights, if rights at all. And we see this translated into how W.E.B. treats her as someone who is supposed to be his right hand. Although she is essentially running this magazine, we see that he still sees himself as that guy. And there is a level of power that he refuses to give up, and a level of respect that he expects to receive from Jessie regardless of how he treats her and regardless of the nature of their relationship. At times, it was a very difficult one to read, but it was also very important to note that as you go through the story, it's very much clear that in order for Jessie to at some point move on and be the star that she truly is, she has to grow from the crisis. She has to grow from WEB and accept that this is only a temporary stop within her life. A consistent point of contention that was often brought up throughout the book was this idea of white people documenting and trying to retell the stories of the Negro during the time. It was a point of contention and a point of consistent argument between Jessie and W.E.B. Du Bois. Jessie was very much of the mindset for the majority of the book that, yes, it's not favorable, but at least our stories are being put out there. At least we're getting our point of views across out into the world, and people are seeing into the eyes of the Negro experience. And W.E.B. was very, very firm in that he believed that white people should not be telling our stories. This was a really interesting topic that continued to come up for me because it's a topic that we continue to discuss today, right? Oftentimes we're talking about how we have so many white authors who, even when they do give valiant efforts, tend to bring very generalized and harmful stereotypes into the characters that they write. And it is a continued question of who should be writing our stories and who is able to portray our life and our hardships correctly outside of us. And even though some folks have done it well, many often fail to really hit that mark and to hit that mark respectfully. And it was a really beautiful and interesting thing to see throughout this book, this continued discussion, and seeing how as more works come out throughout this time period, seeing how Jessie's mind starts to change and she starts to realize, maybe W.E.B. has a point. Even though he's not quite kind in the way that he handles it, he may have a point that they shouldn't be writing our stories. And it was a very interesting evolution to watch. Although this book chronicled many important historical moments that I think can often be overlooked, one of the biggest for me was the dinner party that people consider to be the starting point for the Harlem Renaissance. This took place in 1924, and it was actually intended to be a celebration for Jessie. So we see this point in the book where Jessie is asked to attend a dinner party that is supposed to be in celebration of her. She's coming out with her novel, There is Confusion, and she is asked to attend this dinner party where plenty of different authors and poets and other people that are within the movements of the time are there to celebrate her. And we see through the true lens of Jessie as she watches all of this unfold, and she realizes that, hey, this was supposed to be for me, but they're turning this into something completely different. And she's given a very teeny tiny sliver of time to actually, say thank you and to speak about her work and to talk about her book. And in the book, we see Jessie kind of trying to grapple with the fact that even though she has done all of these things, she still wants to be revered for her own work. It's an interesting dichotomy because even though she wasn't celebrated in the way that she hoped, this still was a very pointed moment in acknowledging that she was the birthplace of this movement. Now, today, we think of this point in time and this dinner party as the beginning of the Harlem Renaissance. We see poets like Langston Hughes, who were often bolstered as the biggest voices and the most recognizable faces of the movement, but in truth, Langston Hughes would not have been Langston Hughes without the backing of Jessie Redmond Faucett. She is the person who truly birthed the Harlem Renaissance. And even though this dinner party was not what it was supposed to be, it was an acknowledgement in its own right that she truly was the mother of it all. She was the epicenter, she was the core. And it was interesting to get what could have possibly been her point of view at that time. Harlem Rhapsody truly felt like a careful curation of all of the most important points of Jessie Redmond Faucett's life and story. And it was such a beautiful thing to read, even though we see the difficulties between Jessie and WEB, and we kind of have to grapple with the fact that our heroes were not always 100% good people. They were deeply flawed. And we see that in Jessie continuing to carry on this over decade long relationship with a married man right in front of his wife. And even though we don't know 100% what happened between WEB and Jessie, I think it's very much easy to assume that in this world, especially during this time period, there were oftentimes sacrifices that women had to make in order to continue to get ahead and to be successful. And those were definitely things that Jessie ended up having to do, on top of the fact that there were very clear feelings, both personally and professionally. This was an amazing read. For me, it was 5 stars. If I could have given it more than 5 stars, I would have. I highly recommend for those of you who didn't read along this month to go ahead and pick it up. It is, to me, required reading when it comes to fully understanding Black history, but also the history of Black literature and culture in the United States. Victoria Christopher Murray did an amazing job with this book, and I am deeply appreciative of the fact that this work exists. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this month's pick. These rolls also came out delicious. They kind of fell apart here because they were like hot out of the oven. I will have the recipe down in the description box below for you guys to check out, as well as this month's pick for those of you who want to go back and pick it up in any format that you desire. All right, lovelies, I hope that you guys enjoyed that little bit with our April book of the month, Harlem Rhapsody, and my own little recipe, these lemon blueberry rolls that I just thunk up in my head. I will have the recipe down in the description. I'm trying to do better about remembering to put the recipes in there. They take a minute, y'all. And also trying to find a place for me to put those recipes that are my own original think pieces for you guys to access as well. I'm thinking about maybe Substack. I don't know. Those of you who like to cook and bake and like to recreate things, let me know what is the easiest place for you to go to instead of having to search through every single book and breakfast for the recipe you want. In closing, when it comes to this book, this was absolutely 100% a 5-star read for me. I did not know that I needed the story of Jessie Redmond Faucett in my life until I read it. There were often times where I felt frustrated with Jessie. There were times where I felt almost in a way distraught and kind of leveled out, because this book was a reminder of how even within Black history, women are so often written out of the conversation unless they are considered to be women that follow a certain level of respectability that people want to see within the community. We know that respectability politics is everywhere, and I think that Miss Faucett's story was definitely a representative of that. She was a deeply flawed and imperfect person, but I also had to respect the fact that those things that made her so flawed were also the characteristics that allowed her to give us such rich literature and what came to be history. This book made me frustrated, but also so proud by the end. If you did not read along with us this month, that is okay. I hope that you guys go out and pick up Harlem Rhapsody by Victoria Christopher Murray. Victoria Christopher Murray just in general does an amazing job with historical biographical fictions. She has co-written quite a few books. My first experience with Victoria Christopher Murray was The Personal Librarian, and that was an absolutely phenomenal read, a book that she co-wrote. I had an amazing time with that, and so I knew that when this book was slated to release that it was going to be nothing but phenomenal. If you love anything historical fiction, if you love to get all up in women's business, you know, because that's really what this is. Women's business in a male-dominated industry, I think that you will absolutely have a beautiful time with this book. Now, she will frustrate you, but we get where we need to go with Miss Redmond Fawcett. This book gave me an even deeper appreciation for the woman behind the movement, and I'm so happy that we have this piece of literature to highlight someone that we don't often talk about and get to learn about. So Miss Murray, thank you so much for giving us this beautiful gem. I had an amazing time with this book. This was my second read of the book, so that just tells you how much I enjoyed it. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts down in the comments below. Guys, I can't wait to hear your thoughts. How did you enjoy this book if you read along? And if you didn't read along with us last month, that's okay. We're just getting things started. So make sure that you tap in this month and double back and check out Harlem Rhapsody. I know that I mentioned that we're just getting started over here when it comes to book club, and we are. That means that it's time for a new month and new book club picks. This time, you guys get to vote. So those of you who are watching this video, if you are tapped in to checking out our book of the month, you get to pick. And I want to hear what book you would like to choose for this book of the month down in the comments below. The final results will go up on Monday. Here are our choices. We are doing Monster May. Y'all know I love me a monster romance. And quite a few people have expressed wanting to get into some more monster romance. So I have some picks for us to choose. I accidentally hooked up with A Vampire by Jessica Cage. This is book 2 in her monster series. I accidentally summoned a demon boyfriend earlier in the year, and when I tell you guys, it was so good. I already have a copy of I Accidentally Hooked Up with a Vampire, so I'm super excited to get into it. If you are interested in checking that out, make sure you put that down in the comments below. I got Abducted by Aliens, and now I'm in a rom-com by Kimberly Lemming. If you don't know, Miss Kimberly Lemming is that girl when it comes to monster romance. Her Mead Mishap series is goated, 10 out of 10 stars in my household. I absolutely adore that series. And this is another addition to her monster infused works. This one focusing on the aliens of the world. So if that interests you, Kimberly Lemming always gives us the perfect combination of a hero on a journey, smut, creatures that we're not really used to, as well as tons and tons of comedy. So if that sounds like it's right up your alley, go ahead and vote for that one in the comments below. We also have Sweet Surrender by Vianoh Oniomo. This is her second, I believe, monster romance. The first one was Sweet Vengeance. Y'all know, if you've been here for a minute, that is one of my favorite monster eroticas of all time. We have a young woman summoning a demon to help her off her rapist. It was great. It was a good time. It was super duper spicy, and I thoroughly enjoyed the characters in that book. This one, Sweet Surrender, is an MM monster erotica, so I am really excited to get into that one. If that sounds like it's right up your alley, go ahead and check it out. You do not have to read the first book to get into the next book, so don't feel like you have to, but if you want to, she's a good old gushing time. Then we have Summoning the Orc by Sam King. This is book 2 in the Orc verse by Sam King. The first book was Boss by the Orc, which I had an amazing time with my friend Divine. put me on to that one. You don't have to read book 1 to get into book 2, but they are interconnected if that is something that you care about. I'm really excited to get into this one. I have been working really, really hard to find good orc romances. They're a little difficult to find because they can have some very unsavory tropes. I really enjoy this series. So that's our next pick, Summoning the Orc by Sam King. If you want to get into that one for the month of May, go ahead, let me know in the comments below. And last but not least, we have Claimed by the Cthulhu by Wendi Guff. I've heard amazing things about this book from Brit and her books. If y'all don't know Brit and her books and her whiteboard, you need to. I love that woman to death. She talked about this last year and I was like, ooh, sounds right up my alley, and I have just been waiting to get into this one. This is about a marine biologist who comes across what she believes is an octopus and finds out it's actually not an octopus but a Cthulhu, and he's her mate and he's obsessed and he's not letting her go. So we have women in STEM getting their goods, and I'm here for it. So those are our 5 choices for the month of May. Let me know down in the comments below which one you would like to read. I will also make sure that I have a book summary of each one in the community tab. So I'm currently on Canva right now putting these together for you guys. All of those will be there for you, okay? So make sure you check those out if you're just not quite sure which one you want to pick, and let me know in the comments below. The voting will end on Monday. So make sure you let me know what you want to read if you would like to participate, and we will be getting into our next read for May. All right, now that we are past some book club things, y'all know I gotta tell you what I'm currently reading. So your girl made a trip to the library. Haven't been to the library in a hot minute. I haven't been many places in a hot minute because I have been so sick, y'all. Like, the fact that I can sit here and talk to you guys is wonderful. I didn't have a voice. My throat was struggling. Like, your girl was taking steroids and stuff just trying to breathe. It was bad. So I had been desperately trying to get to the library. They had some amazing picks, and I do have a library haul coming for you guys, so hold out with me on that one. But I did find this baby. I was not expecting to find this. My local library, it's not too far from me, has been getting way more just Black titles in general, fantasy, urban fiction, Black romance, you name it. Like, they have been getting it, and it has made me so joyful. So I had to grab this when I saw that they had Church Girl by Naima Simone. And when I tell y'all, I am having an amazing time with this story. This one follows Aaliyah Montgomery and Vaughn. Aaliyah is a certified PK, preacher's kid. At the top of the book, we see Aaliyah running from the altar. She was kind of pushed into getting married. She was super duper unhappy. And when it came time for her to walk up there and marry that man, she said, you know what, I can't do this. So she runs off to Chicago with her cousin, who has also been ostracized by their family. While she's there, she's struggling to find work. She's going to be starting school soon, and so she decides to apply for a nanny position. So color her surprised when she pulls up, and the person who's looking for the nanny is the owner of a tattoo shop. Now, she knows nothing about this man, but Vaughn is not to be played with, okay? Vaughn is like certified, like Chicago ink type brother, right? He does tattoos for the stars. He is highly acclaimed, not just in the celebrity world, but in the streets. He's rough, he's tumble, he's rugged. And so when he comes out and sees my girl Aaliyah looking like fucking Mary Poppins standing in the middle of his tattoo shop, he's like, nah, this ain't gonna work. You're a little too cutesy, a little too demure. I don't think you're gonna be able to roll with us. And he tells her, nah, shouty, I'm good. This ain't gonna work out. You need to find somewhere else to work. Matter of fact, you might want to get up out of Chicago and go back to Alabama. That's their first encounter. Aaliyah is like, this man is an asshole. I don't know who he thinks he is, but don't judge a book by its cover. Vaughn ends up eating his words after he has several bad attempts with other nannies. And he has to call up Aaliyah and say, hey, so I know that we had, that little tit for tat earlier, but I need somebody to watch my baby. Can you pull up? And she does. What Aaliyah doesn't expect and what Vaughn doesn't expect is that even though she is the complete antithesis of everything that existed within his life, that she is the woman that he really does need. Aaliyah has the right kind of softness and vulnerability that Vaughn has been craving, and he is just too afraid to claim it. Y'all, I am 50% through this book, and I am having such an amazing time with it. I heard really great things about this one from several people. I was really excited when I saw it in my library, and I'm really happy that I picked it up. I've kind of been in a bit of a reading slump. I recently finished her Psycho Beast, which we'll talk about a little bit later. That definitely put me in a reading slump because the betrayal. That book had me so damn stressed. So yeah, a little slumpage going on. So I needed something a little bit lighter, but still steamy. And this is doing the job for me. If this sounds like it's something that's right up your alley, especially if you like reading about Southern homegrown characters, I think that you will have a good time with this. I love that she is absolutely innocent and sheltered, but she still pulls no punches. Don't play with my girl. Don't play with her. And before we get into our new releases for the month, I do want to plug the Black Romance Readathon. This is being hosted by Tori, the Black Romance connoisseur. I love me some Tori. If you're not following her, you should. I will have her social media here and in the description box for you guys as well. The Black Romance Readathon is in celebration of the Black Romance Book Fest that's getting ready to take place. And she has a whole tasting menu of books for us to read for this readathon. It is going through the end of the month, okay? So we have plenty of time to do that. It has already started, so you can start now, but the books do have to be written by authors that are going to be featured at the festival, okay? There are so many authors that are going to be featured, including the OG Beverly Jenkins, Asia Monique, M. Monique, Tasha Bishop, A.H. Cunningham, J.L. Seegers, and so many more. So I will be doing a full video of my choice for the tasting menu for the Black Romance Readathon, and I will also be documenting what I'm reading and all of that good stuff. You guys will be getting a Black Romance Readathon vlog. I'm going to be doing a little bit of like small travel this month. So y'all are going to see all of those beautiful picks that I got. I have loaded up my carts. I have plenty of books here to work on, and we're going to get through those together. So if you guys do want to participate, make sure you go over to Tori's pages so that you can view the tasting menu and figure out what offerings you're going to grab up for the readathon. Let's go ahead and wrap up today's video. You guys know, before I leave you, I have to give you some new releases for the month of May. We have a lot of really great things coming out, and these aren't even just like the full the full whammy of what is getting ready to come out. May, June, and July are going to be really heavy release months, and I'm really excited because we have amazing titles coming out, especially a lot of follow-up books. First things first, if you watched my most recent reading vlog, I introduced you guys to Evie Divine. She has a new book coming out, Midnight Skies. It's releasing on the 29th of this month. Pre-orders are already up. So if you would like to get back into Evie Divine's stunning and cruel world, just go ahead, tap in. Go ahead, pre-order. I'm excited to get into this one. Then we also have Rebel in the Deep by Katee Robert. That comes out 5/20. This is book 3, I believe, in the Crimson Sail series. I did receive an art copy of this, so I am going to try to get a review out. I haven't read a lot. I read 4 books last month. There was so much going on between me getting sick and some other things that were happening in my life as well. So I haven't been reading like I should. So we will see if I can get her together. We also have Love and Focus by Lyla Lee coming out on 5/27. This is a sapphic second chance romance. I am really excited that we seem to be getting a lot more sapphic releases. I feel like we have definitely been lacking in that category, so it's nice to see more and more coming out. I do believe that I was sent an e-arc of this as well. I have to check. It's definitely one that I will check out. Then we have Not Safe for Work by Nisha J. Tuli. Now, Nisha J. Tuli is well known for her fantasy work, I believe. Trial of the Sun Queen, I believe, is the series that has really gone viral and has become super popular with her. Hey, don't do it. If y'all could see this puppy trying to find something to bark at. He likes trouble. He does. So I believe this is going to be one of her like first forays into like the rom-com space. Not Safe for Work is a workplace forced proximity rom-com. We have two people who are kind of rivals at work that are forced into a closer proximity due to a work vacation situation. And then we also have Kiss Me Maybe by Gabriella Gamez. This comes out next week. And this one is also sapphic. We have a young woman that goes viral for her coming out story, and everything just spirals on from there. I'm really excited to get into this one. I do have an e-arc of this one, I know for a fact. Have not started it yet, but I will be starting it this weekend. And then, of course, y'all know, May is Kennedy Ryan month. It's Kennedy Ryan month. We're getting Can't Get Enough. Now, I will tell you guys this. I have been blessed by the angels above, and I got an e-arc. I'm almost finished with it. Can't Get Enough is Hendrix's book. It's the final book in the Skyland series. Comes out May 13th. I am so excited. I have been dying for Hendrix's story because she is like the epitome of that like rich auntie that doesn't want kids, you know, like she brings money for the kids and liquor for the adults. Like Hendrix is that vibe. But her story is so much deeper. Listen, I was sobbing just from the prologue alone, y'all. This year, I have gotten my ass kicked by prologues. I don't know what are y'all putting in these prologues? I'm still scared to keep reading Oathbound. We have Hendrix, who is very openly trying to navigate her mother's Alzheimer's diagnosis. And she has really been trying to help take care of her mom while also trying to continue to be the boss bitch that she is. And she ends up in the orbit of a guy who was also the boyfriend, or so she believes, of one of her clients. It has been such a good read. You guys know that I adore Kennedy Ryan. I adore her writing style. I thought that Before I Let Go was my favorite, but I have a feeling that by the time I get to the end of Can't Get Enough is going to take it for me. Because I just absolutely adore Hendrix. And this story has cut me to my core. And I'm not even finished yet. So yeah, Can't Get Enough is definitely going to be the book of the spring summer, I believe. I think that is going to be, it's going to be a big one for Kennedy Ryan. Just off of the strength of what I have read, I think this is one of the best stories that she has done. And that's saying something because Kennedy Ryan is a phenomenal writer, period. All right, baby loves, that is it for this installment of Book and Breakfast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Before you leave, make sure you comment what book you would like for us to read for the month of May. I'll be putting up a post with all of the descriptions for all of the books over in the community tab, so make sure you check that out. If you're not quite sure what you want to pick, but make sure you come back to these comments and leave what book you want to read by Monday, because we will have a pick then. If we don't really have anybody saying anything about what they want to read, then I'm just going to pick what I really want to read. All right, I love you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I will have the recipe down in the description box below for you guys. I love you all. Thank you so much for pulling up. And of course, thank you so much for participating, for those of you who have been joining in on the book club shenanigans. I love you, and I'll see y'all in the next video.
I'm drinking not to guess. Blurred bodies, but you're on my mind. We let it go.